Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sandbox Saturday stream. I'm Alex Florez, aka Kamisazi, joined here in voice, mind, body, and soul by Lucas is Right. How you doing, Lucas?
Alex, technical difficulties could not hold us back. It used to be wild horses couldn't keep me down or keep me back or keep me out. Now it's wild routers could
Couldn't bring
not
me
keep us out.
down? I think it's couldn't bring me down.
Something about wild equines, untamed equine. I don't know how the phrase goes clearly, but the fact of the matter is we are here despite the internet trying to keep us away. And that makes me happy.
Lucas restarted his router. I restarted my router. I had to run to the car garage real quick. The car garage?
I found a robot. Yeah. There's cars there and they're in a garage. Why does that not work?
Yeah. The mechanic. They were working on my.
It's technically correct.
They're working on my 22-year-old station wagon.
It's called the classic vehicle, Alex.
It's got legacy in the name, so.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got a legacy of leaking oil apparently.
Not the greatest of legacies. Also, Tron Legacy wasn't the greatest of legacies, so that makes.
Did you not like Tron Legacy?
No, I enjoyed it. I did.
Okay.
It wasn't the greatest of all the Trons.
Oh, okay. I feel wasn't it supposed to be like a trilogy or something, like right off the bat, and so far they haven't come out with the rest of it, or did they like cancel?
They're gonna.
Is it like Avatar? We're gonna have to.
They're working on it, Alex. It's in the background.
New movie every 2 decades.
I mean, if that was a thing, I would actually be okay with that. If they're like, we promise you, pinky swear that it's going to come out every 20 years, I'd be like, you know what? Make it good, and I'm in.
All right.
I've been a fan since I was a kid, so I don't. You know what? I'd follow the franchise for life. That's a cool idea to me.
All right. Well, we're having kind of a goofy stream here, just because Builders Challenge 2 is closed up. Alpha Season 4, there's rumblings about it, but no official dates, launch announcements, anything like that. Nothing we can share yet. So we're just cruising in the middle here, which is actually kind of like soothing in a way. There's been a lot of go of stuff, but there is still stuff going on in the sandbox right now. Let's see real quickly what events are live, and we'll just mention them real quickly here. So there is Shimaru, dive into the vibrant world of Bollywood with an exclusive experience inspired by two of its most iconic films. If you are a landowner, there is a super suit that is available to be claimed.
It gives you abs.
It gives you abs. It gives you a cape. It gives you a little crown kind of thing. It's like Superman had a crown at some point, right? That's kind of what that's inspired by.
I think there is a version of Superman that has where he has a crown.
Yeah, they don't.
It's not common, but it's happened.
Yeah. There's Netmarble Town. Explore Netmarble Town and earn exciting rewards. Dive into featured worlds like Seven Nights and Stone Age. That looks cute. Look at all these adorable little characters here. So we got Meta World, My City, and Netmarble Town. Oh, it wants me to log in before I can see all the info. Adorable. Looks like we get to travel around in a hot air balloon.
Oh, love hot air balloons. Fun fact, I got married in a hot air balloon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
My parents went on a hot air balloon ride a few years ago. I think they won it like in a radio contest or something. And it makes total sense for my dad because he's always loved flying. He wanted to be a pilot in the Navy, and that didn't work out. He ended up being the electrician on a submarine, which means he ran the nuclear reactor in the submarine. And he didn't end up being a Navy pilot. But he did get a private pilot's license and he used to fly me around in a little Cessna when I was when I was like 5 and 6 years old. A little bit later
Nice.
too. Um, he has some vision stuff now, so he can't fly anymore. Um,
Mhm.
but uh, I was really surprised that my mom went in the hot air balloon because that sounds way too adventurous for my mom. But they had a grand old time. They got to go look out over all the forests of Connecticut from high up in the air. All right, what else we got going on here? Path to Glory still open until the 31st of December. There's a bunch of stuff for Builder's Launchpad ending January 6th that you can check out if you're looking to uh, get involved with that. And I think that's all for like the play events right now. There's some experience of the week mentioned.
The Builder's Launchpad. Can we look at that for a second?
Sure. Um, just real quickly, the experiences of the week, we've got Little Prince and the Magic Whale, which I believe Lucas was playing
I was. You
in the
dragged around
background.
by birds like a kid in the movie Up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the movement mechanics in that. I don't know how
Mhm.
they did it exactly, but it was a lot of fun getting drug around.
Through space, like not against the ground. Like
Yeah,
you're flying.
like outer space.
Yeah, yeah,
There's little
yeah.
planets, stars everywhere. It's beautiful.
They've also got the Florez Cake, a Game of the Year edition. Summer Game Jam, TikTok True or False. We played that on stream a while back. It's kind of like that uh, the disappearing floor thing, like not Hunger Games. The other thing, Squid Games. Like Squid Games, except it's like a lot faster paced because you're like racing with people and it's like a randomized path through. It's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Apocalypse. I've not played this on stream. I have played this before though. It was pretty cool. This one's by Impossible Dream Studio. Is
Kitty
that
cat.
Roxy Miguel?
Roxy Miguel.
That is Roxy Miguel.
We both said it at the same time, so it's got to
Yeah,
be true.
it's got to be true. I'm pretty sure it's
Mm-hmm.
Roxy Miguel.
That's science.
Um, this one's pretty cool. It's a survival game, and you've got to gather your resources, fight off enemies in waves. There's like a night day cycle, all this cool stuff. And I haven't played it till the end. I played it until my computer submitted, basically. So there was a challenge in it of like how long you could last in the game, and
Like your computer tapped out.
my computer tapped out because I found a good hiding spot where the enemies couldn't get to me.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I exploited it. I got to a
as
spot
you should.
where the enemies would not get to me, and so it kept on going through the night day cycle, but kept on spawning more enemies because it's they keep coming in waves. But I wasn't ever clearing the waves. I was just letting more and more waves come until there were like hundreds of enemies running around trying to get me, and they couldn't get me because I was out of reach. And then my computer was like, "What are you doing to me? Cut it out."
It said no, thank
it's
you.
I think the game runs better if you actually play it correctly because you clear the waves and then there's not enemies piling up. So you can also beat the game that way. The way that I was playing it, it just would never end. You would just get stuck there. So um, anyway, it was cool, and I would like to play it again sometime and see how far I get. But playing the legit way, not the not my way. um, hey, Sir Alekin. Howdy, Garnikin. Everybody else, go west. Yokes on you. Sylvia and Henry over on Twitter. Sky W109 says, when season 4 of the Sandbox? So, and Lucas said, soon TM. And that's like a very soon TM because
Hurry.
while there's not an official launch date mentioned yet, I do know that Seb and Arthur have been sharing little snippets on Twitter, so make sure you're following at the Sandbox Game and at is it at Sebastian?
I believe it's
Let's.
Borges Sebastian.
Oh, why am I logged
Yeah,
out? Oh, it's the wrong tab.
it's at BORGETSEBASTIAN. Tien, and I will drop the link
Thank you.
in the chat. Don't know why I spelled it all out when I could just drop it in the chat like that.
Make sure you're following them to get the latest news and at the Sandbox game.
You mentioned Arthur too, right?
Yeah, but Arthur doesn't always like share the actual announcement. He might like share a picture with something hidden in the background. You never know. So
keep your eyes peeled on his stuff because every once in a while he drops some real nuggets.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that here.
All the stuff that I try to not do because I like my job, and they can't fire Arthur for it because he's the
big boss man.
He's the big boss man. Yeah. But I might get in trouble if I do it because I'm not the big boss man, despite what some people say. Was it Roxy Miguel who kept on saying that I was in charge of everything, or was it somebody else? I don't. There was somebody on stream who kept on saying that.
Let's just assume it was Roxy. He says lots of things, and usually it's pretty fun. So I'm gonna go with that.
All right. Chicklet Mede on YouTube says, please come back. The Sandbox Evolution for Android. So it's kind of like two separate companies now. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the Sandbox and Sandbox Evolution, the mobile games, are still owned by Pixel in its entirety, and the Sandbox, the 3D one that we're doing, is while Pixel was bought by Animoca Brands, we're kind of like a separate entity of Sandbox Gaming LLC, or it's got different, like, when you have a international business like the Sandbox, you have to register it as a company in different countries, and Sandbox Gaming Ltd is like one of the European ones. I think it's got different names in the USA and stuff. So we're like, as far as I know, we're like separate management structure from anybody who would still be in charge of Sandbox Evolution. So
layers.
Yeah, there's different layers to how it goes. So I personally I've never worked on the Sandbox Evolution. I played it a little bit long before I was doing voxel art and long before I joined the Sandbox. I was like, oh, what's this? Because it was like featured in the Apple App Store. But yeah, I've never actually worked on it as a employee of the Sandbox. So I don't know anybody personally who is still involved with Sandbox Evolution. They're pretty old games now. I'm not sure that they're still getting updates, but you know what? Let me write. I've been trying to get better about writing notes when people ask me questions about things. So I've got like a little tiny sticky notepad and a Sharpie that I can put little notes on my monitor.
Look at you growing. Because,
I mean, usually, like, I've got a Trello board and I've got a checklist in a notebook and I've got a planner and I've got all these ways of organizing. But when I'm live on stream, sometimes I don't have that stuff right next to me, and then I forget when it, after we've been streaming for an hour or two, I'm like, was there something I was supposed to do? But yeah, the Sandbox Evolution. I believe that it is an older app and has operating systems like Android and iOS and Windows. As they update, sometimes older software is no longer compatible with certain changes in the operating system. So I will. I've made a note to see if I can still locate the old Discord for it, because I mentioned on a previous stream.
Oh yeah.
There was a Discord for Sandbox Evolution, and back when we first started the Sandbox here in 3D, I swear my daughter's gonna come crashing through the ceiling one of these days. The noises that I hear from the ceiling above me concern me. She's got to weigh like, she's less than 50 pounds. She's less than 50 pounds, but she is like, I think, half elephant, because she just and she's a graceful dancer. Like she takes ballet and stuff classes, and she can dance perfectly fine. But when it comes to like navigating around the house, she only uses her heels and does not use her ankles or her knees. It's just to the floor, and I think she jumps off of her bed, and her bedroom's right above my office, so I just hear things like creaking and shaking, and one of these days you're going to see a small child fall behind me and the green screen's going to fall over and there's going to be dust flying and screaming and
Don't threaten me with a good time, Alex.
it'll be hilarious for Lucas, and I'm going to be freaking out about the security deposit on this rental. Anyway, so I'm going to try to find out. We had people from joining the Sandbox Discord who were looking for the Sandbox Evolution and the old iOS Sandbox Discord because they wanted to report bugs or issues that they were having, or they just had general questions and they're like, why can't anybody help us here? And it's like, well, we don't work on that. We work over on this thing, and it's a different like part of the company. And then they've gotten more separate, I think. So I'll see if that Discord's still around, and see what I can find out. It is possible that it's not supported anymore. I don't know for sure. It's just that I haven't really talked to anybody over there in like 4 years. So I'll see what I can find out.
You
I
are
do
a saint.
I do already have a note up on on my on my monitor for getting the names changed, because if you type in that you're streaming the Sandbox, there are two options, and one is the old one and one is the new one, and there's no real distinction between them. So I know it can be
We've been working
confusing.
on this for what, like 2 years now?
Uh, Longer technically. So the new Sandbox didn't have an option before. It
Mm-hmm.
was just the old one, and I was able to add the new one, and they didn't change the old one when I added the new one. And I seem to remember that they weren't going to change the old one, but I would like to try to ask them to do that again, because it's like, um, uh,
Confusing?
well, it's like a centralized database of games, and it's not just like you can talk to Twitch or you can talk to YouTube. There's like a whole process, and they have moderators. It's kind of like Wikipedia in a way. Like they have a staff that
Okay.
um, like moderates it, because they want to make sure that the information is accurate, and they want to make sure that you're actually a representative for this game, or like the information you're giving is
Yeah.
correct. Because they linked, like when you stream, they link to your game so other people can find the game that you're on. And if the information's not accurate, then it's a disservice to everybody. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Makes
so
their
they,
service look less credible as well.
right. So they're kind of sticklers about it, which is a good thing, I think. But it makes
Mm-hmm.
it tough for me because I don't work for the old Sandbox, which is the one that I'm trying to get the name changed for. So that might actually help me find out who's working on it still, if there's still somebody
Ah,
working on it,
good
maybe, or
point.
it may be like totally shut down at this point. I'm not sure. So I'll try to find that out, and that will be part of my process for maybe getting on streaming. It might be called like the Sandbox Classic or the Sandbox Retro or something. I don't
Sandbox
know.
Evolution.
Well, that's a different game. Sandbox
Yeah,
Evolution
that's what,
is two. There was the Sandbox, and then the Sandbox Evolution was the second one, and now we're in the Sandbox, which is the third one, but it has the same name as the first
oh.
one. This is like Doom,
Oh.
right?
I thought the first one and the second one were that you're talking about are both Sandbox Evolution.
No, only the second one, Sandbox Evolution. So this is like
Mm.
Doom and Doom 2016. Everybody, if you see Doom all caps, that means somebody's talking about Doom 2016, which is like the franchise reboot that happened in 2016. But the title of the game is just DOOM. So if you're not looking at capitalization, you're not looking at dates, it looks exactly like the Doom that came out in 1993 or something like that. I don't remember what the date is off the top of my
Forever
head,
ago.
but when I was a wee child. Anyway, we you wanted to look at the Builder's Launchpad.
Yes.
So there's several different. There's all genres, tower defense, back rooms, and cooking simulator. Oh, and resource management. So we'll look at the all genres one and just see like what this is about. So,
Please and thank you.
you can find this on the events page, but I'll also share the link here if you're interested in looking into it. The Builder's Launchpad unleashing hidden games. Step into a world of endless possibilities with Builder's Launchpad, a unique program tailored to assist UGC builders in fast tracking their games into the Sandbox map. Whether you are an advanced creator or just starting out, our goal is to provide you with the tools and support needed to showcase your creativity to everyone. How we might help, uh, they're offering a one by one land or sand if you already have a land, a one to one or one on one, I guess, sandbox expert follow up to help you with playtesting and game design feedback, a set of catalysts offered from 100 common to 1 legendary, experience featuring for 1 month on the Sandbox main page. There's a form to apply for or to apply to the program. Um, and basically, what this is a way for people who are building in the sandbox to get a little boost up on what they're doing. So, ideally, you should probably already have a game that you're working on. Let's see what the form actually asks for. Confirm that you are not a partner or a trusted partner. Name of your game, exact name on the game maker or game client. Your TSB account name. Your TSB profile link. Profile link. The ID of your experience. That's the when you click on an experience. There's like a series of numbers and letters related to that. So like we look at Pickaxe Master here, and it's got this little thing right here between the title and page. That's what they're looking for. That gives
okay.
That lets our team go directly to your experience on the dashboard, so they can test it out or whatever. That's how they find it. Your mail, I'm guessing email, and main game genre, and then you can pick from a whole bunch of stuff. And then screenshots, anything that you want to share with the team, land status, whether you already have land or not, and your wallet address, preferably the one that is associated with your Sandbox account. So that will let the team check out what you're doing, and let it's kind of like a small publishing deal. It's like it's not fully funding your game development, but it's giving you a little boost. So the catalyst will let you mint some stuff. You could either mint passes to give special rewards to players, or to sell to players so they can unlock stuff, or to have special giveaway items, however you want to use those minted items, because you don't need to mint anything right now in order to publish your game. So you can do all the development without the catalysts, and then use those catalysts to help build your marketing materials. And either the land or the sand to help with the development costs for publishing. And what's really beneficial is the one-to-one talking to an expert in the field. That's oftentimes somebody like Cyber Dragon, who streams here on this channel, is really, he's like the godfather of
numpads.
Sandbox of numpads, yeah, of game maker mechanics. Since I want to say at least early 2021, he's been rocking, or he was rocking the game jams. He doesn't participate in game jams anymore, but he was rocking the game jams before he became staff, with really crazy game mechanics. I mean, not crazy in the grand scope. Yeah, not crazy in the grand scope of like other people have made games, but as far as what was possible in the Game Maker at the time, we're still adding features built into the Game Maker that he was accomplishing using. It's like that meme from Iron Man. It's like, Tony Stark built this with sticks and stones in a cave, or whatever. I can't remember how the line goes. That was Cyber Dragon. He was figuring out how to teleport avatars by like killing them in one spot and moving their respawn point to another spot. And he was making elevators that you could call and send to different floors, and just stuff that we had no built-in features for, and he was able to duct tape it together from the existing features, and make some really interesting mechanics. He did like turn-based RPGs, so you can make a game kind of like Pokemon. He's done all sorts of stuff. So anyway, you should check out his streams, because he does stream here on the Sandbox channels, and he has a lot of knowledge that you can you can benefit from. But talking to somebody like him will really help you level up whatever your game is, because he will be able to tell you what mechanics are working well, what things might be like slowing your game down and making it run less efficiently. He'll be able to give you suggestions on how to make your game more fun, and not just him, other staff that is involved in that program. So, if you haven't tried out that program, would be something I would recommend trying out, because it'll help you along your way to publishing a successful game.
I really like this because I've heard a lot of people say, like, I want to build games, I want to do this, but I don't know about buying a land.
Mhm.
And they'll go in the game maker and they'll still build stuff.
Mhm.
And then it's just kind of like they just sit there. It just kind of sits there almost like on the shelf collecting dust. It's not really like that, but mentally I feel like it's like that a little bit. And I feel like this program's going to give especially those people, and I know like 3 people I'm going to message after the show and be like, hey, I know you said you were uncomfortable purchasing land. This is a way that you could potentially get around that. And I'm really excited to be able to present them with that,
Mhm.
That's cool.
Exactly.
I like that.
Chicklet Mede on YouTube asks, "Is the Sandbox Evolution only on PC?" No, it started out as an Apple iPhone iOS game,
Mm.
back in. Well, the original Sandbox game I think was from like 2010, maybe 2012, something like that. And then Sandbox Evolution came a couple years later, also for iOS. And since then, I think both games got ported to Android and both games got ported to PC as well. So you can find them on Steam, but I think people have had mixed results with them still working on PC. Some I've seen people saying that I don't understand the other reviews. This works great, and other people saying, this doesn't work anymore. So there may be some compatibility issues with a specific version of Windows, or certain graphics cards. I'm not sure. People may be trying to play it on really old PCs. Yeah, I'm not. It is the games are pretty old at this point, and like I said, I'm not sure how much staff is still working to keep them up to date. Um, I know there were points when they worked fine, but your results may vary on that. So I'm not gonna make like a hard recommendation or like specific hardware you should have for it, because I'm actually not sure myself. I think I had Sandbox Evolution on Steam. I don't that one might be free to play. I'm not sure. Um, and I've never tried the original one on PC. But both of those games are on Steam. I do know that much. Uh, but this one in particular, which is just called the Sandbox, is only on PC and Mac right now. Happy Sand Day. What?
It's Jackie V and Jackie right there.
Creating AIs in games. So I'm guessing that you mean like using AI to create a game versus creating a NPC AI in game, which um, I've not talked about it a lot on stream before. I'm not huge on AI replacing creative uh, endeavors, because I like making the things that I make. I mean, I'm working in VoxEdit right here, very slowly because I'm talking, but um, I wouldn't ever want to write a prompt for what I do in VoxEdit. The exception would be, I think, um, there are some tedious things. So sometimes you might want to say, I would like this particular node to be duplicated 30 times, and each time it's duplicated, rotate it on the y axis 5 degrees. So that way it makes a circle around, or whatever.
Some of the more mundane tasks.
That takes no creative juice for me to do it. It's like right click, copy, right click, paste, change the number, rinse, repeat over and over again. That's tedious. I can understand wanting to be able to tell a prompt to do that. But when it comes to the artistic side of and the creative solution side of things, I just like creating. So those tools are useful for some people, but for me, I've found that very few prompts do exactly what I need them to do as well as I can just do them myself. And the amount of time I spend editing anything that comes from a prompt, I at that point I may as well have just done it. Like I wrote a lengthy, not a lengthy, I wrote a reasonably long email for what it was about, uh, and just to check myself, asked ChatGPT to condense it as much as possible, and it actually made it longer because I had left out some formal fluff at the start and end of the email because it wanted to make it like a letter, like a formal letter with like the to whom it may concern, dear madam or sir, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't put that in there because it was just like an
Dear
email to my boss.
grandmother, it's been a fortnight since we last communicated.
Right. It was an email to my boss who I talked to like in chat all the time, but this was like a more formal email. So, I could just say like hello instead of the whole spiel. So it added that and left all the contents of my email exactly the way it was because it didn't see any improvements that it could make. And I'm like, okay, I always did well in my English classes, so um let's see. Not Jackie Chin says I do kind of like those all dreams have meaning. My dreams at 3 a.m. AI videos. So that's where I find I do find those interesting. When it's like the nightmare fuel kind of stuff, when things just morph from one thing to
Oh,
another. And I do
wonderful.
I do think that AI has a good ability to morph from one thing to another in kind of creative ways. I use creative very like loosely there versus the manual tools that have been around since the 90s. I think it was the 90s. Maybe it started in the 80s. I think the first major use was Michael Jackson's. I can't remember what the song was called. But
Thriller.
there's what was it?
Thriller.
It was not Thriller.
It's the only one of his songs I know, so that I was just taking a shot in the dark.
They had a music video where people's faces were morphing from one face to another face, and it was like a live footage. Um, uh, I think is it Tyra Banks who's like America's Next Top Model host or whatever? I think she was actually in the music video. But it's like it goes from face to face of people of different races, different genders, and it morphs pretty convincingly. If you take the middle frames between, they're a little bit weird because it was either the late 80s or the early 90s. But for the computers at the time, it was pretty groundbreaking to morph faces this way. And I feel like some of that morph technology has not gotten a lot better. Just the
I feel like
artists.
it's actually regressed a little bit.
Yeah, well, it depends on the skill level of the artist and what the budget is. And as an artist gets more skilled, they're expected to get paid more. So studios might opt for somebody at a lower pay scale. Black or White. Thank you, Roxy Miguel. That is the. I wasn't sure if that was the title of the song. I could hear it in my head. I could hear the lyrics.
I
Black or
thought they were
White.
asking a question.
No, no.
Black or White's the name of the
Well,
song because there's a question mark at the end of it. And I was
yeah,
like, Black or White, what?
they're
Like, was
asking
the
if
music
that's the
video's
name of the
black or white?
song. Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
I think I
Okay.
think it's Black or White. I think is the title of the song. It's at least in the chorus. Um, so as they morph from thing to thing, that was pretty groundbreaking at the time, and it's been used in lots of movies and stuff since then. So I think AI has some of the looser prompts people use for AI to morph ends up with real nightmare fuel of like, oh my god, why did my wife just morph into a dog and then change into a banana, and then why did I eat her and then she like popped out of my ear? Like that's the kind of stuff that happens with those AI videos sometimes. But I think with tighter prompting and more skilled users, it ends up a bit better. So I think that's one of those things where it is kind of, it's a tedious job, right? You're like tracking points, you're, putting all these dots on faces and saying, here's face at stage A, here's face at stage B, and you're morphing from one to the other. And it's it can be a drag, right? That's not what I meant to do. I meant to duplicate this node. Mouse cooperate.
I really wish that I had like a whiteboard that I could draw on, that I could hold like cartoon word bubbles up. Because when you were giving that description of the nightmare fuel, like the wife turning into a banana
no party
and
like a
eating her,
PandaPops party, like a PandaPops party.
there were so many things that I wanted to write down and like hold up.
I don't have the Twitch chat up. I mean, like I can see the Twitch chat, but I don't have the actual Twitch widget up, so I don't know who redeemed PandaPops already. But thank you.
I don't either, actually. Garnigan
did it.
Garnigan redeemed Panda Party.
There we go. I need to get the little chat box up here so if something happens, I can see it.
Why don't we have the chat on the screen anymore?
Part of it is, well, there's a couple reasons.
Okay.
So we can't have the restream chat up because of Twitch terms of service, because we can, if we are streaming on Twitch, we can only show Twitch chat. We are not, even though we can interact with the YouTube chat and the Twitter chat, we cannot show them on the screen. That's their rule in their infinite wisdom.
If Twitch was an X, it would be one of those jealous, possessive X's. You can't talk to anyone else. You can't call anyone else. You're going to dinner with a friend? Yeah, right. Over my dead body. No, thank you.
So, yeah, that's part of Twitch's rules, and then not having the Twitch chat up, I think was just a real estate and convenience thing. It takes up space on the screen, and
it does.
When I'm working in the Game Maker, we've got stuff on the left panel and stuff on the right panel, so if I put the chat on either side, it's overlapping something important. So yeah. Anyway, I've as somebody who's highly skilled in the field, I don't see AI really replacing the high skilled workers. It's really replacing the entry level workers, so that way they never become high skilled workers. And I think that it's a kind of a self-defeating thing. And there's a lot of other issues that I've seen with the way it's integrated into search engines, stuff like Google results, pulling in stuff from the websites. Google, historically, has been funded by advertisements on people's websites. And now that they pull information from those websites and put it in the search results, you never click on the website, so you never see the ad. So Google doesn't get the advertising money, neither does the website that you are not going to anymore. So both the person who created that information suffers from not getting income from from the article or blog or whatever that they wrote, but also Google's losing out on that information ever being written. So they've kind of done this Ouroboros snake eating its own tail kind of thing, where they're collapsing the size of information by trying to make it too accessible in the search results. Like they kind of shot themselves in their own foot by not letting you see the advertisers. So that's fun.
Have you heard about how AI has been rickrolling people?
I'm literally rickrolling?
Completely serious right now. I'm being completely serious. So what's been happening is it happens so much in our society that when they're putting these, crawlers out to scan the web so that the AI can learn how to respond in certain situations, the AI is seeing people getting rickrolled on a regular basis and it's getting rickrolled so often that it
Mm-hmm.
actually incorporated it into its like response structure for a couple like big businesses. And so like there was this one company I was reading about where like somebody messaged them for tech support, and the AI responded by rickrolling the person that was requesting tech support. So like you're saying right now, like it could be one of those self-defeating things. Like I've never once agreed with that until I read about the rickrolling, and then I was like,
Oh
yo, we
no.
might be okay. We might be okay. Because if we just flood the internet with enough garbage, which, you know, let's be honest, it kind of is, then the sources that it's learning from, you know, unless it's
Yeah.
completely directed, it's not going to be quality sources.
I think there's I'm really excited for good AI personal assistants.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love for Siri to not be so lazy. Like I my phone's probably gonna go off as I say these things, but I like my ability to tell my phone to start a timer while I'm cooking. I can just shout it out, and I don't have to like worry about raw meat on my hands getting on the oven
Hmm.
timer or anything like that. Um, I like being able to ask it what the temperature is outside as I'm like trying to get the kids dressed for school, and I'm like, I forgot to check what temperature it is. It's I'm in Connecticut, so right now it's about 50 degrees when the kids go to school, and it's almost 80 degrees when they come home from school. So it's like, is it a short stay or a jeans day? Well, who knows? Maybe both. Um, so it would be nice, but I think my phone, if I just say, "Hey Siri, what's the weather like?" You need to unlock your iPhone first. I Thanks for the hands-free help. Why do I need to unlock my iPhone for it
See,
to tell me the weather?
it just heard you talking smack, and it was like, you know what? Lock. What's up now, bro? You're talking
It
about hands free, nothing.
it's funny because most technology, my menacing aura, intimidates technology into just working. People are like, this thing, it's not. Why won't the computer do what I needed to do? And then I just kind of stand there with my hands on my hips, and it just goes, "Oh, here, this is what I was supposed to do. I'm sorry."
Alex, the destroyer of worlds is here.
I
Quick,
know,
work.
right? um, yeah. There are large language model AIs capable of trolling its creators. Yeah,
I actually, one
probably.
thing that I've really been enjoying with Chat GPT is it's been helping me a lot with the gym. So, like, I have a really small home gym, and I have a certain a finite number of pieces of equipment.
Hmm.
And so I basically went on to ChatGPT. I put in all of my pieces of equipment that I have at the house. I was like, I have this, and I did a complete inventory. And I said, all right, now that you know what I have as far as equipment is concerned, can you help me write up a workout for a back day? Can you help me
Hmm.
work out, set up a workout for a legs day? And then it's okay, now can you help me with the same equipment? Can you help me write 12 different variations of said like legs day workouts? So I can
Hmm.
have, you know, 6 weeks of legs days, leg day all planned out. And then I'm like, all right, now can you scramble those for me? And so it literally is spitting out like workouts that I can do with this equipment. And it's been taking my tiny little home gym and making it so much more efficient and effective. There are so many
Now,
workouts that I just never thought of.
question on that.
Yeah,
Would you feel as confident in following those instructions if you didn't already know so much about working out? Like, would
absolutely not.
you? Yeah. So
And
you
that's what I
you
was going
kind
to
of
say. Like, I'm
you
past
already
the
know
entry
what you're
levels.
doing. You already know what you're doing, and it's assisting you with randomizing some things and kind of filling out stuff, but then you're using your mind and your knowledge to curate its suggestions.
Correct. So
Yeah.
I was saying that kind of to build on what you were saying about entry level. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm past the entry level part when it comes to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So I that kind of like leads me to agree with you on that part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I said, integrating something like this into VoxEdit, I would totally be down for, or the game maker, you know, iterating a thing that I've already made, or making random modifications to it, and then I can curate the results. But I found when it comes to something where I have a specific creative thing in mind, and I know exactly what I want to accomplish, uh, I I've been doing that. I've been taking what's in my brain and putting it on paper for 33 years, 34 years. I was a toddler learning to draw. But I've been able to draw what's in my head since I was 5, and I've only gotten better at it over time. And I'm probably rusty now because I don't draw by hand that much anymore. But I do stuff with voxels, and I can make the things that I visualize. Um, so I think when it comes to somebody at a professional level being able to do something, they have those skills honed in, um, and it's going to be difficult to replace that because I've seen what tries to replace it, and to people who are not experienced in that field, they might not be able to tell the difference. The, my wife and I make fun of the boomers on Facebook who they see like um, a sculpture of Jesus made out of water bottles with a it's for some reason it's always like some like African village child that supposedly made this water bottle sculpture, but it's very clearly AI, of image of these water bottles smashed into the shape of Jesus. And but it's always, all the comments are always like, "Amen, God bless." The like 50 people in their 50 plus age range, and I would think that they were all bots, except I know that my aunt does it too. That's why
A
we
lot of
end
the
up
pictures
seeing
are
it.
way too close to the camera.
That's why we end up seeing it, because my aunt is like, "Amen" on it. I'm like, why? Like, I can tell it's so not real. Um, so there are lots of people who can't tell the difference, but when it comes to professionals, they can tell the difference, and I can very clearly tell the difference between, like, I'm not trying to call out anybody or make them feel bad. You like, I'm not coming after people for creating stuff with AI. I'm just saying that there's reasons that I don't use it. Um, and when people make like their game thumbnails for the sandbox with AI, I can immediately tell, because I've been, the reason I like working in voxel art is because I don't think I actually have OCD. Like, I've never been diagnosed with it, but I am a perfectionist. And the reason I like voxel art is because of the nice, clean, straight lines. And the AI, uh, voxel art
Just
and
doesn't do
pixel
that.
art is so smudgy, wiggly, blurry. They use a lot of what we call mixels, where they're using different resolutions for items. Um, so some pixels are bigger, some pixels are smaller. I did that backwards. Some pixels are bigger, some pixels are smaller. um, and it's very easy for me to tell, like, immediately. I could probably make a game out of, like, guess, is it AI or real, and like how many pictures can you guess in a certain time limit. I'd be pretty good at it, I think. Um, and as a voxel artist, it makes me a little bit sad to see that an artist is not getting work to make that. But also as a voxel art consumer, enthusiast, somebody who loves looking at other people's voxel art, um, it's not attractive to me to see it because I can see the imperfections in it. Uh, and I like voxel art for the precision of it. So when I can see that
When that
it's
precision's not there, it kind of takes away. It
it
detracts a
it,
lot of the value.
it does not spark joy for me.
What?
Yeah. um because the precision in the lines and the grid is why I like it. That's why all the paper that I write on and draw on is grid paper usually, because I like those things to line up. So yeah, it's just it's not for me. So it when it comes for me choosing somebody that I would want to work with professionally, I would go for somebody who actually makes the stuff themselves. Because I want to hire somebody for their mind and their ability to do work. And if they're using AI to do that work for them, and in more ways than just like an efficiency thing, because I know I've talked to people who say that they use an AI to like fill out their calendar and stuff like that. And it works fine for them. Efficiency things are, I don't have a problem with that. I actually use ChatGPT not every week, but every once in a while when I'm building spreadsheets, because oftentimes I'm trying to make a formula in a spreadsheet that is using features that I've never used before, and I've never taken a class on making spreadsheets. I'm totally self taught. And sometimes the examples that Google gives for how to use a specific feature in the spreadsheet are not really complete enough for me to understand how to use it in the context I'm trying to use it in. So something like ChatGPT can help kind of fill in the gaps for me. Um, but that's me as somebody who's not like a spreadsheet expert. Um, if I wanted to hire somebody to work on spreadsheets for me, I would want them to not need ChatGPT to do it. I would want them to have the skills that go beyond what I can do. Um, so yeah, just as a professional, I'm much more interested in what somebody's brain can do, because that's why I'd be hiring them instead of just using the AI. So I think the ability to like use prompts just makes a case for hiring the AI and not for hiring the prompter, I guess, because it feels like most people can learn prompts pretty well. So it's just a thing that when it comes to like when people ask if AI is coming to the game maker, I think it would be great if we got some efficiency tools in there. So we've got like the debug tools that talk about how to optimize your game. Well, that's the thing. They don't talk about how to optimize your game. They just tell you how many assets you've used, how many behaviors and components you've used, um, the overall RAM usage, things like that. It would be great for the tool to be able to give you feedback to say, hey, you've got 300 unique models in this experience that are all animated, and some of them have upward of 500 keyframes in their animation, and that is why you're using more CPU and RAM than you would expect, and why your frame rate is dropping from 60 FPS to 45 FPS or whatever. I think having a tool like that in the game maker to explain to people, to give them that feedback of how to improve it, would be great. And I say that as the person who runs those performance tests, knowing that that would kind of take my place. But that particular work is kind of boring, I guess. It's not creative work for me. It's kind of that rote stuff. Like I analyze somebody's game and I go, oh hey, you're using 4 gigs of RAM. That's kind of high for your game to be using. It should ideally be under 2 gigs of RAM. I can rate that feedback over and over and over again, but it kind of doesn't change. So uh, the situation around it might change. Like, why are they using so much RAM? Is it because they are using so many different assets, or so many copies of assets, or so many behaviors that are storing variables and
Let's
sending
figure it
messages
out.
and stuff? Yeah. So using the AI to figure out something like that, I think would be beneficial. Also, because most people building a game maker wouldn't be hiring me anyway. The stuff that I'm testing is stuff specifically that's for the seasons, for events, stuff that the sandbox wants somebody professional to look at, to give feedback to the creators and be able to work with the creators on improving things. Whereas,
Because Alex is also creator.
yeah, but when you've got, say, 10,000 different creators, they're not all going to come to me for that feedback, because one, I would be swamped and not be able to get I wouldn't be able to work fast
Anything?
enough to satisfy satisfy them all. But yeah, I think across the board that would help everybody's experiences improve, right? And it's not replacing them as the creator; it's giving them the feedback and helping them learn what they can do
Be
better.
better creators.
Exactly.
When you're done talking about this, I do have a question for you that's not related to what you're talking about now. So let me know when you've wrapped this thought
I
completely.
think I think that was most of it. I mean, the question was like, when's AI stuff coming to the sandbox? And so, I mean, if I didn't catch if it, I think I said at the beginning, like, I don't think this is about NPC AI, but if it is about NPC AI,
It was not.
um, I have thoughts about that also, but they're not the same. Um, but yeah, as far as AI tools in the sandbox, yeah, I think people can make better stuff without it. Because what I've seen what I've seen created with AI is oftentimes not as good as it's claimed to be. A lot of these companies have gotten in trouble recently for saying that their tools can do things that when people have actually examined them they can't do. And a lot of professional programmers and stuff have gone through and analyzed the results that they get from these tools and gone like, this is not really efficient and not the way that I would do it, or
I
maybe it
had a
doesn't even work.
I had a friend who he has a pretty successful podcast, and he's just got one of those voices where when he talks over a microphone, everybody's just like, say more right now and don't stop. It's just he's just got one of those. It's just soothing and fun and engaging. And so
Mm-hmm.
he did a series like where he actually had like ChatGPT write him uh 12 horror stories, or just he was going to do an entire like horror story series of podcasts. And I think he got like 5 into this series and he was just like, this is starting to get a little repetitive. And then he got to the 10th one and he was like, all right, people, I'm canceling this. This isn't fun anymore. I don't want to read the same story for the 11th time. And so he got literally 10 episodes in and shut the project down because it was just too repetitive.
And does he do writing?
He's a writer, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's where like somebody who's a professional in his craft can tell the difference, whereas other people might not be able to. Um, there, mm, where was I going to go with that? I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, it's one of those things with curation. I think one of the few examples of like creative work that I sort of delegated to an AI was the name of the Moon Leaper's hat. So the bunny ears with the little chick egg on it that we did for Easter. Um, I'll pull it up.
It's funny that you'd say naming something because one of my favorite authors, actually, I should say my favorite author, he's creating this series. I've talked about it on here before, Monster Hunter, not Monster Hunter, He Who Fights with Monsters.
Mhm.
And he has created this incredibly complex and dynamic world. And he's one of the things that he did to make it so that this world was really easy for him to just like kind of like the complex ideas, the fights, the character building, all the stuff that most people have a really hard time with. That's the stuff that comes easily to him, or
Mhm.
the stuff that flows out of him. And the naming portion, that's the portion he finds to be incredibly difficult. So
Mhm.
he made it so basically one of the worlds is just, when it comes to naming things, they're super basic. Like if you're in the east, that's Eastland. If you're at a port and the port is green, that's Greenport. Like literally
That sounds like
everything.
Game of Thrones, right? Like Jon Snow. All
Kind of, yeah.
like the
It's
names are
it's
based on
that
the region they're
concept.
from.
Yeah, it's that concept, but like hyper extrapolated. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything is like, there's this one part where this guy's walking through and he's like, hey, where are we right now? And he's like, we're at quarry number 2. And he's like, yeah, but what's the name? He's like, the name is quarry number 2. He's like, wait, did we just come from quarry number 1? And the guy's like, yeah, obviously. Why are you asking? And he's just like, you guys and your names.
Is
Like
this
there's this
just
group of
Germany? Like,
There's this group of like
or
twins,
Vulcan.
or
It
basically
sounds like a very like I mean
logical way to go about
yeah,
things.
right. Like why else would
There's
you
this
call
group
it
of like
that?
quintuplets, and they all their names are Al. It's like Albert, Alberici, Alphonse. Like all of them are named based off of Al. Like, and I'm just like, yo, you are a master of your craft. You took something very complex and you made it simple and still complex at the same time. I'm blown away.
So yeah, this I was having a hard time coming up with the name for this hat. Uh
Okay.
and so I don't think I saved the conversation, but I did. I gave some like notes on like what other things had been called. You know, the kind of the formatting structure of the way I've named these hats before,
Okay.
and then some attributes of the hat. And Moonleaper's incubating hat was not one of the suggestions, but it got me pretty close, and I was able to kind of take parts from multiple of its suggestions and put it together with some other stuff. So in a way, like this name is kind of a collage of the what was generated along with my own ideas, and to arrive at this result. But still, it was not a this isn't what it spit out. Like I think it may have put the word incubating in there, and then I think it was like Moon something. It wasn't Moon Leaper, but I wanted to be Moon Leaper with the idea of like a rabbit jumping over the moon or something. So, um, anyway, that's one of the few kind of examples where I indulged in its more creative features. But
Okay.
for the most part, I use it as a reference tool for Google Sheets. Yeah. So was the question not Jackie Chan's in the
It's
chat?
not Jackie Chan's, but not Jackie Chan has been chiming in with Coyote Jester. So the question from Coyote Jester over on YouTube is: can you create a bird enemy that has bird behaviors, but is also a melee enemy that will attack the avatar? And what Not Jackie Chan had said, and he gave like a couple points to his answer, was you can parent a melee enemy to a bird and it kind of works, but maybe better is to just add a speaker component to a bird that deals damage when it gets near an avatar. Or, and I'm just thinking out loud now, maybe you can use the bird template in VoxEdit and make a bird that is set high above the ground node, and its attack animation swoops down to the ground. And the bird is just set as a regular melee enemy or soldier that wanders around. And now I will release this bird to you, Alex.
So yeah, those are all good suggestions. The attaching a melee enemy to a bird as that behavior, I feel would end up with some weird results that would probably not work exactly the way that you want because the way those mechanics move around um, don't often pair well with the bird specifically. The bird behavior in particular is difficult sometimes to connect to things. Um, so yeah, you absolutely could have a speaker component or trigger volume that when the bird is flying close enough to the character or anything really, it could just deal damage in that range. Um, the bird's motion, if you haven't noticed, the bird's motion is a um,
Perfect.
is it's perfect. It's a
Perfection.
circle and it has a variation up and down on the circle, so it goes kind of up and down through the circle. It also goes in and out from the circle, and uh, I don't know if those waves perfectly overlap. It's difficult to like trace the exact motion of the bird, but it is pretty regular. So as you adjust the sliders of like the maximum height, the minimum height, the maximum width, the minimum width. I think those frequencies affect how they overlap. So the bird will get some sort of motion like this through a curve or through a circle. So it's just kind of doing this wave offset from the main circle. Um, we don't currently have anything that modifies that motion to say like, oh, the bird's going to land or the bird's going to attack or the bird's going to rise up or drop down at these specific points. It's literally just those waves along the path of the circle. um, so yeah, having it deal damage in a certain range is probably the simplest way to set it up. um, what Lucas was suggesting with having it be an NPC that's like high up off the ground, that's a good way to do it in a more like RPG kind of format. Like just thinking of like the random motion of the NPCs is very much similar to like classic JRPG kind of movement. Um, and so what you would end up with is a bird that is standing over. I'm going to do Napoleon Dynamite, and the bird is just flapping in a spot, kind of hovering, and it's going to move with a random periodic movement. So if you want the bird to be this like aggressive like crow that's just kind of hovering over you, um, that would
And I
be
do.
more of the motion that you would get out of it, and then have the attack animation literally being it swooping down. I think that would work well. But you're not. It's not going to be the same as when a bird is soaring through the sky. You're not going to get like, um, a vulture circling, and then it's going to swoop down and do this attack. You're gonna kind of have one or the other. Um,
Okay.
you could try replacing the asset, but I think that's going to offset it a lot because wherever you place the bird is the center and base of the circle that it does. So if you wherever you've placed the bird, your minimum height is above that, and you can set the minimum height to 0, and then it'll fly along the ground. But um, wherever you position the bird asset in the game maker ends up being the bottom and center point of the circle path that it takes. Um, so if you switch, if you convert, like use either spawners or asset switchers to like convert or the replace asset feature to switch it from the circling bird to like the attack NPC motion bird, I think it's going to be way offset from where you actually want it to be. Um, Maybe if you did it as a spawn and destroy the original bird, it you would need to experiment with it. This is a thing where I'd probably spend a few hours in the game maker just trying out different things and seeing what looks best before committing to a specific bird design and making custom art in VoxEdit to work with that mechanic. Um, so yeah, you can have birds that attack. You can also do, now this may not work if you're trying to do like a regular bird, like just an animal. It's not going to be as good, but uh, if you're trying to do like a drone or an alien spaceship or something, you can do attack turrets, which will do damage. So you can have little attachments. So you'll have like the circling bird behavior be like the main drone ship, and then put little turrets on it that'll point at the player and shoot them. That's, was it the Wasteland Punks or something? I can't remember the name of the experience. The one that we jumped in, it's like a desert wasteland that has a big arena. The name of the experience is not coming to me right now. I know Lucas knows what I'm talking about.
I do, and I'm trying to remember it. And he's always here, and today he's not here. Is the wasteland? Give me. Just let's move on, and then I'll think of it.
Okay. That game has some examples of turrets being used in a cool way like that. All right, so we're at 77 by 77. And we're gonna center. So
His
what
name,
we're
his
doing
name
right
is
now,
Temio, and it's the Sand
uh,
Squad. Disto
right?
Punks.
Was it yes, Distopunks? Yeah. Well, I don't know that that was the name of the experience, but it was Temio.
Come battle for the Sand Squad. No. Where is it? No, it's this. Here we go. Here's the experience link. I found that. The Lost Desert PvP.
That's what it was.
By the Sand Squad.
So that one has a lot of examples of like in-place turrets. But you can make those sorts of turrets and attach them to other things like a bird, and they should work. Oops.
And I'm going to drop a link in the chat to the Lost Desert PvP. So, Coyote Jester, if you would like to jump in there to take a look at what Alex is talking about right now, you now have an in-your-face example of this in action. And Alex, just so you know, Coyote Jester just replied back on YouTube and said, "That's great. Thanks for the options and the answer."
Yeah, anytime. That's what we're here for.
Literally.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what we're doing right now is I just wanted to experiment with the chain mechanics that we were working on before and seeing if we can make a platform. We had tried making a platform in the Game Maker at the bottom of a chain, but it kept on kind of falling apart. And I had some thoughts on why it might be doing that. And so we're going to try making something a little more purposefully built.
Go on.
So I never had an issue with a link falling out, like
not a URL, an actual link.
Yeah. So the chain links that we built up, I never had a link just fall out of the middle, unless the ends were pulled apart. But when we tried making a platform connecting multiple of those links, it didn't work as well. So I'm wondering if the links are actually part of the model, if it will behave better. So we're gonna see if this will work. And the trigonometry is not on my side to line these things up, but I'll get over it. This is where I know I'm not OCD. Is I'll be like, I can say it's good enough.
Good enough for government work.
Negative 30.5. And it is one too low. But, you know, me being me, it still has to look nice. So we're going to clean this up.
So what exactly are you doing right now?
I am just making the bottom of this look nice. But I've built a platform that I can attach chains to on either side. Actually, you know, I might rotate these off the side because I feel like the chain links are going to smash into each other at the top. So I'm actually gonna like rotate them.
Put them in a little bit of an angle.
Yeah.
15 degrees.
Or maybe just off to the side.
Mm-hmm. Like a wild man. Gotcha. His name is Alex, and clearly he likes to party.
All right, we need to duplicate this.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah, what's up?
We're doing a giveaway today.
We're giving away Wizzy the Orange's Singed Hat. Keep in mind, you can only win it if you haven't won one already. So sometimes, because we've been giving them away for a while now, sometimes we run into the case where everybody who applies to the giveaway already has one. So in that case, if you have already won Wizard of the Orange's Singed Hat, and we have nobody who hasn't won one yet, we will give away something different. Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, if you see that form come across your desk, screen, or lap, fill it out. Because, like Alex said, if everybody's won it, we're going to give away something else. And we'll just do a random draw at that point.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna grab the top of the surface here. Oh wait, I was gonna move these first. Is that 45? 43? The math in my head's not mathing.
Sometimes that happens. You might need to reposition the base so that it's touching the back and the top if you want to do it at a 45.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I was like 270. It looked right. 225. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, I didn't mean to double click. $225 that way, and then this one's going out to 45, 5, 27 plus 4 is
31.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. It's good. I'm dealing with it in perspective, so the angles like look weird when it's closer to the edge of the camera.
Mm.
And then we're gonna move it out here. And out there.
So this is basically the anchor for the chain setup we were just discussing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool.
This is gonna be. We're gonna try to jump on this, and hopefully we don't go flying. Hopefully we have like
a trampoline.
No, like a swing.
Okay, I was way off. A concrete trampoline sounds really painful.
Yeah. Concrete's not really known for its bounciness. Not typically.
Blacktop is, but that's still. Oh, thank you.
I think blacktop is black because it's got a whole bunch of like tar and rubber in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess about the tar. I didn't know it had rubber in it, but that would make sense.
Well, I don't. What's in blacktop? Let me know.
To Google. Composition. Blacktop is a type of surfacing material made from a mixture of crushed stone and bitumen, a viscous black binding agent derived from petroleum distillation. The proportion of stone to bitumen differs from asphalt, with blacktop having a higher stone content. Interesting.
So no tar or rubber.
But it says petroleum distillation, and I'm pretty sure petroleum distillation's like, I'm not sure if that's the tar or the rubber or both.
Well, rubber comes from trees.
Mm-hmm. But it can also
petroleum
come from
tar.
I thought.
Lieutenant General says that the petroleum is tar, which would make sense to me.
And Panda says she loves the word viscous. And I gotta say, I agree with her on that one. Sanctum Voxel Artist over on Twitter/X. Hey, Sanctum, how are you today? Yes, we are experimenting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember a few streams back, Alex created a giant chain setup, very Tomb Raider-esque, if you will. And today we are working on answering community questions, talking about things that are going on, discussing the topics of the day, and experimenting with the chain build a little more.
And of course, I'm getting hyper fixated on the design aspects of this experiment. It's got to look pretty, or what was the point?
Science? Science doesn't always look pretty, Alex.
Does when I do it.
Because you do it shirtless. It's just not fair to the rest of us.
Was not expecting that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm always just mixing it up.
Indeed. All right.
It says Mr. Sanctum 05 is a first-time chatter, but I know Sanctum's been on Twitter or Twitch before. Sanctum, did you just create a new account? Is that what's going on there?
Well,
or
you just
is it a?
They just commented on Twitter, so maybe they're usually on Twitter
And Twitch.
Oh,
but he's usually on Twitch, from what I understand, from what I remember.
Maybe they're a man of mystery, a person of mystery.
I like that.
If you don't do science shirtless, is it really science? You know, I think you would have to experiment and find out.
Although if that experiment involves bacon, I highly recommend putting a shirt on. At least for that one experiment. Trust me on this.
Baking or bacon?
Bacon, specifically bacon.
Yes. Okay. Because I was gonna say, I don't know. I've seen YouTube shorts. There's definitely guys baking shirtless. Like, it happens. But
Alex's algorithm is a little different than mine.
Mine has a lot of cooking content, and sometimes some tangential things pop in there.
You know what? That's fair, because mine has no cooking at all. It's all comic books, kittens and puppies, octopus, and comedy. That's pretty much it. Oh, and like blacksmithing.
Okay. Yeah. So I think
That's
your
all
blacksmithing's
my
like
feeds
my
are.
cooking, because like
Yeah,
I
I was
enjoy
gonna say.
actually cooking, and I look up a lot of recipes, and I've watched a few specific food YouTubers, and so it's in the shorts. It's like, hey, you want to think about food right now? And I'm like, I really don't, but yeah, you do. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I do. You got
That
me.
looks delicious.
You got me. Maybe I do want poached eggs.
Oh, yeah, I always want poached eggs. You'd be surprised by the number of different videos explaining the best way to do poached eggs and how much they differ from each other.
And they're all arguing with each other.
Yeah. Poached eggs with celery salt. You know, celery salt's not something I typically have on hand. Um,
I was unaware there was something called celery salt, so that's where we're at
I
today.
think most of it is used in making Bloody Marys.
Oh.
I think that's where most celery salt is made.
Oh my! So,
Poaching
yeah,
is
so my
bad and it is illegal. Yeah, we're not poaching eggs, we're making poached eggs. So the illegal part's already done. They've already been poached.
you don't want to let them go to waste because that would just
Right.
be bad form.
He uses celery salt on so much. Um yeah, I think I know it's something my mom always had in her spice cabinet, but it's not something that I've ever owned and used myself in cooking. But I think it just tastes kind of like celery flavored salt, right? Oh, poach the
I have
eggs
no
right
idea.
out of the chicken. So Panda did actual poaching of eggs to make her poached eggs. She took them right out of the chicken coop.
I want chickens. I want them. I want chickens so bad.
We were talking about
Please.
that. Just were you here for that stream? We were talking about. I don't think you were. I think it was just me, or maybe it was after you left. We were talking about the smell of like chicken poop versus other
Mm.
like agricultural smells and like dirty jobs. I don't think you were here for that. And I was saying like I love getting eggs from my best man's family because they have a coop full of chickens and so they always have fresh eggs and these are
Are they
like the
wildly
most
different than the eggs you buy in the store?
oh they taste like eggs but like the best eggs. They taste strongly of eggs. And I don't mean like ooh that egg smell, like not rotten
No, I
eggs.
know
No.
exactly what you
It's
mean.
the taste of egg yolk like times 5.
Okay, so do you know what? Have you ever eaten like venison?
It's been a long time.
Do you remember how it was gamey? It was like meat times 7.
I don't particularly remember
Okay.
understanding, but other people around me said, "Oh, it's kind of gamey." I always thought that was like a bad thing, but it really is like um you know the way like banana pudding tastes intensely of banana and not like with artificial flavoring, but like a real banana pudding that's made with
Mm-hmm.
bananas. Um, it's like that, but with eggs. It's
Okay.
like you can tell it tastes like egg, but it tastes like like more egg. Um, and the yolks were like a darker orange, and they were so good because they had just been like laid like the day before or whatever, so they haven't been sitting in a fridge in Walmart for like 2 weeks. Um, they were so good. Man, I want some eggs now.
I eat a lot of eggs.
Dag nabbit, Lucas. I want a poached egg from like a farm fresh egg right now.
I guess if there's any farms
Put
around
on
me.
some corned beef hash with a piece of rye toast next to it. Wait, Americans have eggs in their fridges. So, Panda, American chickens are carry salmonella, which is not as much of an issue in other countries.
Wait, it's
So
not?
it's not. Um, it's not. I know in Japan it's not either. So it's normal in other countries to not store eggs in the fridge. I think specifically. Oh no, I think the reason why is because we wash the eggs in the U.S. and they don't wash them elsewhere. So eggs are coated in like a non-permeable or like they're basically like waterproof. Um, so the if you wash the eggs, it like washes off the coating and can let salmonella and stuff like through the porous surface of the eggs because the eggs can kind of like breathe a little bit. Um, so yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, Lieutenant General says it's the washing. So because Americans don't want to see any chicken poop on their eggs, they go, I don't want it. So we wash the eggs before they get to the grocery store, and they have to be refrigerated because contaminants, bacteria and stuff will get in through the pores of the eggs.
Hmm.
When you remove the coating, they get spoiled faster due to pathogen penetration. Yeah. We also have a feather or two on our eggs from the store. Yeah. The American eggs almost never have anything on them. They look totally clean on the outside, but because of that, that it means that they lose that protective seal that they naturally have. Um, so pathogens can get in. So we refrigerate them, and none of us are the worse for it. But it's just you get bags of milk, Panda. I don't know what to tell you. It's other countries they get food differently, but it's kind of not that different.
Um, so something I read the other day that I thought was fantastically amazing and just it kind of blew my mind was feeding like farm fresh type chicken eggs, not like store bought type chicken eggs, to kittens, specifically feeding them the yolks, can
Mm-hmm.
actually reduce the amount of allergens that
Mm-hmm.
these cats produce as they grow up.
Um, so there's more to it than that.
Okay, please elaborate.
You, if the I think the chickens need to be around cats, and the what makes the allergen for humans, the chickens are like immune to it, so they like get an enzyme that they basically produce like antibodies to
Mm-hmm.
protect them from the cat allergens, and those antibodies stick around in the egg. So
So I can
feeding
read
the
you a
egg to
scientific
the
approach to what you're saying right now.
what?
I said I can read you a scientific like analysis of what you're
Thank you.
saying right
Yeah,
now.
there's like some protein or something. Yeah, go ahead. Read the thing.
So this approach involves harnessing the immune system of the chickens, which produces an anti-fel D1 antibodies (IgY) and concentrating them in egg yolks. By feeding these yolks to the cats, I think it's fel means feline D1 protein, a primary allergen responsible for cat allergies, is or might be neutralized.
There you go. It's yeah, the
Blown.
studies are not fully conclusive yet, but there is cat food that you can buy that's made with these eggs. That's supposed to help reduce the allergen, because basically, what the thing that the antibody that protects the chicken getting in the eggs, it actually gets into the saliva of the cat, and as they clean themselves and lick themselves all over, as cats do, they basically kill the allergen on their body.
It's fascinating. I heard
Yeah.
about this because
It's
one of my
it's a
buddies,
recent thing, like in the past like 5 years, I think, is when they're like, wait a minute.
hold up, what can we do?
Yeah.
Um, reason I found out about this is because one of my buddies, it's I don't remember the exact setup, but basically either him or his wife have always wanted cats, and him or his wife have always wanted chickens, and I think his wife wanted chickens, and he was like, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to be involved with all that work." And then
Mhm.
he's always wanted cats, and she's like, "No, I'm allergic." And now they're finding out that if they do both, they can literally have their cake and eat it too.
Nice.
And so now they have this big old chicken coop, and he loves it. I'm not gonna lie. He's like, "Oh, I gotta work on the chicken coop." I'm like, "Dude, you've already been out there 3 times today. You're past having to and into wanting to. Why don't you just like be honest with everyone?" And they just got like a couple of baby kittens,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they're kind of like raising all this up together, and I'm like, this is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. And make
And
cake with
make
the
cake
chicken
with the
eggs.
chicken eggs. Exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, like my wife is became allergic to eggs when she got pregnant
Mm.
with our first kid. She she may have had some, like, the allergen may have exist, or the allergy may have existed before, and it may have just been that the pregnancy like activated it or something.
Mm.
But when she was first pregnant, she realized that she started feeling like really nauseous, and not like morning sickness, but she would like eat breakfast and then be like, why do I have a stomach ache? And I think it was it was a couple years later when she was pregnant with her second kid that she like made the connection of like it's every time I eat anything with eggs in it,
Only
because
when
it
she's
was
pregnant or all the time?
no all the time now.
Uh,
But she, she used to have eggs with breakfast, and she would feel bleh. But it wasn't just eggs with breakfast that was making her feel bleh. She was feeling bleh other times too. So she couldn't like pinpoint what it was. And then she realized she was eating things that had egg in it, like cake
gotcha.
or mayonnaise
Or eggs.
or eggs. Yeah, anything with eggs in it was making her feel terrible. And so then the kind of the light, ding, the
The
timer
bell
went
could
off.
go off, the light could turn on. I mean, all of it works.
We figured it out finally, and now she has a mostly egg-free existence. Every once in a while, it'll be snuck in there in something, and she'll she'll usually like she'll eat some peppermints to kind of help with it because it's not like a deadly allergy. It's just like stomach cramps
My stomach
allergy.
feel gross.
Yeah, more like kind of like being lactose intolerant. Um, so yeah. So unfortunately, the egg cat allergy thing can't really help her there. It's like maybe if she maybe if she eats cats who eat chicken eggs, then she'll be not allergic to eggs anymore.
Nope. Don't like that.
No. uh, so we've got a house guest, friend of mine, staying with us, and I'm stealing our cats.
I'm sorry, what now? You're stealing your cats? Really?
No, not really.
Oh,
But I'm stealing their love and affection. At least it's a mother and daughter cat,
mm-hmm.
and the mother cat is a rescue, and so we're not entirely sure what she is. We're pretty sure she's a blue Russian cat, so very fluffy, very pretty, and kind of tiny. She's very petite. Well, not like skinny, but like very small. Um, and then the daughter cat is like a black and white, like kind of tuxedo style cat, and uh, the daughter cat's kind of standoffish. She'll be like, "Oh, somebody's getting pets. I want pets," and like she'll come over. But it's kind of like the okay, you touched me enough. Now stop touching me. I walk away now. Reaction from her, whereas her mother is like, "You give me attention, give me all the attention. That is, I will stay here forever and take all the attention." So we were, as a family, we were sitting down watching Road to El Dorado, and the cat came up next to me on the couch, and I was petting her, and then my friend came down and sat on the other side of the cat and was like, "Hey, you're stealing my cat." uh, I let me have my cat. And so it's like, okay. So she's petting her cat, and she lifted her hand off of the cat for less than 2 seconds, and the cat was laying on its side and just kind of shuffled over and like onto my leg. Like, okay, like she stopped. Now you're giving me attention now, and I'm like, oh yes, you are my cat now. So yes, I'm stealing her cat. Emotionally, figuratively, not literally.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I think this will work. And then we want to center.
So Sanctum is asking, basically, what are we making right now? You want to give a brief rundown on this chain base?
Yeah, this is just the bottom of a chain. So it's a platform that I'm hoping that we can stand on and swing with.
Ooh.
Because
you want to stand on it and swing with it. Got it.
Yeah, because we've already made the chain, but the chain's got a big hole in the middle. So when you try to stand on it, you just fall through. The idea is that you'll be able to be on this platform. Now, I don't think it's going to work very well because the game maker does not have us stick to moving objects unless they're platforms or birds, I think, but specifically platforms. So the moving platform behavior, it kind of like locks you onto it, and as it moves around, you kind of stick to it a bit. Whereas physics objects, they will push you, but they don't really pull you along with them the way a platform does. But we'll
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
I
see.
think this one's set to go. I just wanted to make it look nice as I do. So this is the chain asset here, and oh wait, it's got a weird coloration thing going on here. Because this is because I moved it. That's why. All right, now it should be good. Everything in its right place. So now we can hit save, and we're going to upload to the workspace. Is there a way to increase the screen size of VoxEdit? Um, this is just you just grab the handle and you pull it. Now, you probably have the opposite of the problem that I have. The problem that I have is that I'm on a 4K screen, and I would love to be able to double the height of the timeline so I could see more rows at once. Because if I select one node and I want to see all the keyframes on it, I can only see the one node, and I can see when the position XYZ, rotation XYZ. So I can only see information relating to this one node. But if I say select two things here and expand them, and if I want to see, like, okay, where's the keyframe on position Z on this node? Okay, it's right here, and now I have to scroll up to see where it is on the other node. That's annoying to me. I would rather be able to expand this. And it used to be, the interface used to be more flexible. There's been a lot of changes to VoxEdit over the years, but we used to be able to resize these panels. The resizing the panels was causing a lot of issues for some people. It may come back in the future. I think they're working on some of these updates, but right now all we have is the ability to collapse and expand. We don't have the ability to pop this out as a separate window unless, yeah, no, we used to, but not anymore. So I used to pull this timeline out all the time and then make it really big. So it sounds like you want more real estate in this 3D space here. You'll need a bigger screen. If you're already got it full screen, or you've already pulled it out most of the way, like I have it here, you actually need a higher resolution screen to have a bigger space in here, because these panels are locked in pixel dimensions. And yeah, that no matter what screen size you have, these panels are going to be the same number of pixels in height and width, or width for the side panels and height for the bottom panel. Another issue I have is if I've got a lot of children nodes, I've got these hierarchies going out so many generations down in the tree, and then I have to scroll left and right on the skeleton panel, which is also annoying. So yeah, it'd be nice to be able to resize these things, because I wish I could get this ratio of 3D space to panel space and then expand the whole thing out so I could have more rows in my timeline and more left and right space on the skeleton panel, but I do not have that right now. So 4K screens, highly recommend. I have a hard time. I have a laptop and I have a hard time working from it because I'm not used to working on such little real estate. I've actually got two 4K screens, so effectively I'm on. I was telling this to Panda the other day, and I blew her mind a little bit, because she's on a 1920 by 1080 screen, and I was like, oh, my setup is basically 8 of those. uh, but trying to work on a laptop now, it's like, it's not this small, but it feels this small.
Why did you jump back into the Stone Age?
Right. Yeah. The funny thing is my laptop has a better GPU than my desktop because it's newer, but
Oh.
I can't work from it. It's too little real estate. Literally just when I'm traveling is my work for that, and I do some optimization tests to see. I check at like the
All the
oldest
things.
PC I have to my main PC, and then the laptop, the gaming laptop that's like really super new. All right, so we're making a prop. Confirm type. Did I have any like special stuff in my other chain link? Any like tags, things that I wanted to use for testing stuff and things? That's what I put there.
Yeah, I've got 3 1080 by 1920 monitors.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them are landscape and 1 of them's portrait.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have a hard time going back down to like even 2 of these.
Mm. I was on 3 screens for a little bit, but these 4K monitors are 32 inches. There's not enough space on my desk to fit a third monitor, so I had the 4K screen, and then I had 2 1920 by 1080s off to either side, but I got rid of those monitors because they weren't as good. And oftentimes, like typically whatever I'm working on my main screen is either full screen or like pretty large on the window, and then my secondary screen I will sometimes have 4 things up at once. So I'll be like working on like Game Maker over here, and then I've got like a spreadsheet, iTunes, the Sandbox dashboard, and like Slack up all at the same time on the other screen.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have like specific programs that you use on and at specific parts of specific monitors?
Not not as a rule, but they do tend to end up in a similar space usually.
Okay. It was like I always put like Slack on my left monitor, and I always put like my to-do lists on my right monitor, and I always put like the ad programs I'm working on my center monitor. Like
Lucas
my brain just automatically
Senators.
puts. What's up?
I said Lucas is watching Senators.
Yes, it's fun. Everybody needs a pastime. But yeah, so I always put specific programs on specific monitors because it helps me when I have a million things going on. Okay, I need to look for program X, and I know where to that I generally put that.
Mm-hmm. I felt like I added chains. There we go. Chains, cables, ropes, and pipes. So that means I need to update this one for chains.
Yeah, you do.
All right. So that is in the Game Maker now. We can close out this. And let's see if our experiment works. 2060. No, it's a 2070 Super is what I have. And it's not. I'm not running a game across 2 4K monitors. It's only one 4K monitor, and
because
usually
that would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy, especially on a 2070. Also, who runs a game on 2 screens? You got to. I would hate to have a split down the middle. Like that's. I would never start doing that. Let's see. The lab. This is where we were testing. So I don't know if the stream got like stuttery at all. It should be okay right now. But I'm gonna reduce my Game Maker to 1080 by 1920. So when I'm not streaming, I'm usually playing and building in 4K because it's nice, sharp resolution pixels. It looks all pretty. But when I'm streaming platforms really only do 1080 by 1920. They don't typically go to 4K. And I don't think my GPU could handle streaming in 4K because even with my screen in 4K, it's downsampling to 1920 by 1080 on OBS and outputting in HD, not UHD. So my
PandaPops
settings.
says, "Yo, people, clip fun, entertaining, and educational moments for raffle tickets into our Clipper raffles. Do it. I like to laugh on my Monday mornings at work." I'm assuming that the clips kind of build up over the weekend, and then Panda goes over them all on Monday when she's, ho hum about having to be in the office, and they brighten her day. So you'll be making the world a little bit of a better place by entering the Clipper raffle, is what she's saying. And fail moments, especially fail moments. So kind of, erasing everything I just said about making the world a better place. She just wants to laugh at people's pain.
Of course.
Of course, of course.
All right, so we're gonna set this up. So right now they're kind of intersecting, which could be a problem. So we want to make sure that there's a gap there. And then we can duplicate them and rotate them.
Come on. Being rude.
Fur baby being rude.
Mm-hmm. She's like, "I know that if I run across your desk, my tail is going to catch your mic, and your mic is going to run into literally everything else when I move it." Because she walks across the desk and her tail hooks it, like she's right about to do right now, and she watches it. She turns her head and watches as it bangs into the monitors and the cameras. And
did I do that?
I love you very much, kid. And you need to stop. Come here. Yeah. Sweet baby porcupine wants herself some treats, and there are none within arm's reach, so that is not happening.
How dare you?
I know. What a jerk am I? Come here. Put you over here. There we go.
All right, so we got a basic swing going on here. We do need to get it up off the ground a little bit because this chain is going to kind of settle. And then except for the top ones, which are going to be our anchors to the ceiling that doesn't exist, we're going to turn on collisions plus gravity, and then we're going to see how this moves. Okay, it looks like it fell all the way to the ground, so we need to lift it up a little bit more.
I outsmarted the kitten. I moved my microphone up instead of down. I have thumbs.
There we go. So, yeah. So, technically it works. The problem being that
Oh, that's kind of neat.
we don't stick to it at all. It just kind of slides out from underneath us.
How could we fix that? Maybe some ledges on it? Instead of being a flat edge?
Maybe that might help. I can try dropping that floor in a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, you got it. Oh.
But you notice I don't make any horizontal movement. It's just up and down.
That's why I'm wondering if maybe some invisible walls on it. Could you put invisible walls on it?
I would have to jump over them to mount and dismount, so I think that would be more distracting than anything else.
Ooh, not Jackie Chan asked a great question. What does making it climbable do?
tried that, and I think it was the same thing where we don't actually stick to it. It just kind of slides off of us,
Okay.
or we slide off of it. Well, let's try it. You know, it might have worked, and it might have just been that yeah, I think we slide off of it. I was trying to remember
Platform at the bottom. Platform at the bottom, says Ian, the IT guy.
That's what I was gonna try before the latter suggestion. The problem with a platform is that it will likely break the chain. So see how we don't really move with the ladder? Like, we just kind of fall off of it, and now I'm tilted.
And now I'm tilted.
So we kind of stay in the same space as it swings without us. Gotcha. It would be great if we could do a swinging rope that way, but the ladders weren't designed to be movable. So if we do a platform...
Ooh, Garnican says you could make some kind of cabin of multiple elements so it can be entered. Then you have walls, but it still has a door hole to enter it.
Oh, like... yeah, we've got assets like that too. So you're talking about like a gondola, basically.
You're a gondola.
Mm-hmm. You call it a door hole. That almost sounds like a real insult. So making it a basic platform with no motion means that it is no longer with physics. So we can kind of push these chains around, and they're just locked between these two things. But if we make it have the motion, though, so we're going to need to offset the distance to be halfway.
Xura says, make a collision box appear from debug menu to better judge it.
It's not going to change anything because the colliders are perfectly aligned with the asset.
Oh, I see what they're talking about. That's so cool.
So if it was an object like a tree, it gives us more information about where we collide on the tree.
Yeah.
Or like you see how the deer's nose pops out of its collision, because the collision box is only based on the first frame of the animation. Mm-hmm. So when we change the animation, the collision doesn't change. So if I say like attack, he's actually attacking outside of his collision box.
You want to hear something really cool? Now that you have these green lights on your screen that are just kind of like glowing your face, like right around your eyes, you're starting to turn like clear from it.
Yeah. That's the danger of doing anything in the Game Maker with the default grass. If I turn down the brightness on my screen, it's not so bad. But that's because I'm looking at a giant light, basically.
Yeah, a giant light that's like blasting you with the color that you need to be transparent. Mm-hmm. It's called science, Alex.
So the chains were designed specifically to be the collision box. So there's no difference between the shape of the model and the collision in this case. All right. Let's rotate a little bit.
just a heads up, Alex, in about 17 minutes, I'm going to need to start taking off.
Okay. All right. Well, we should be done by then, I think. All right. Let's
Also,
see.
got a winner for the contest.
Who's our winner?
And by contest, I mean the form, the giveaway. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm.
One second, I got to pull it up. I lost it. Where'd it go?
Oh no, Brooke.
What's happening? There we go. Alrighty. Congratulations goes out to Boobful. You have won Wizzy's fantastically orange hat. It's all yours, my friend. It might need you to take it to the dry cleaner because it's been in storage for a little bit. And, you know, before that, it was in the null for even longer. But now it's out and it's on its way to you.
Hey.
So please enjoy and wear it with pride. Congratulations.
Having a hard time getting this link to stay on. It looks like it's in the right position.
Looks can be deceiving.
They can
Or
be.
so I've been told.
I think maybe it just doesn't like that particular side, but let's change the speed. And try to give this a little more leeway.
Xura says, try render bounds. And Garnican says, I can't remember. Did you at one point test what happens if you make one end of the chain pickable?
So if you make a pickable side, collision turns off. So the chain just falls apart.
Like completely? Just like crumbles to dust?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all rusty?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of want to see that.
Okay, so it does work. You just got to make sure that you don't have the collisions intersecting at any point. I had to just angle it just right.
Oh, okay.
What was the other? Oh, render bounds. I've not found a use for render bounds yet. Render bounds are weird. Like, I don't actually know what the use of them is, except to say, hey, there's a thing here. Which you can see the things anyway.
Yeah. Xura, have you found a useful purpose for render bounds? Like, have you been able to use that in some way that you found to be beneficial? If so, drop it in the chat. Tell us what you did. I want to hear.
I feel like I thought of something with render bounds, but I don't remember what it was now. But for the most part, I haven't noticed them being particularly useful, except for just saying this thing fits inside this space. But it doesn't tell you like the interior section of this. I find the collision rendering is much more beneficial if you're trying to figure out why you're able to squeeze through a gap in something or not. You know, figure out which object is blocking you. We can also make this go up and down. So make it a bit of an elevator. Will I go that high? Let's see. Oop. There we go. Oh no, broke.
Yeah. Why for break?
So in real life, if you put too much tension on a chain, eventually the chains will snap apart, right?
I do it all the time.
So
Tear them apart.
these models, obviously, they don't have a real physics on them. They can't deform or bend like a piece of metal, but they can clip through each other. So when you twist up the chain, it will eventually find a point that it disagrees with.
Hmm.
We actually did one where we had we twisted the chain until it snapped. So we had one end that was like spinning around, and eventually it broke. And well, didn't last long. Now this is a very thick and wide chain. You could make a skinnier, more open round chain. I just wanted to make it like this for the chunkiness of it. I found it aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
But you could make a more forgiving chain. Lucas, do you have your game sound on?
I do not.
Or I mean, you can turn on the Twitch sound and just listen.
Ready to go.
You can hear that? So
Alex
these
done came in like a wrecking ball.
they freeze after a while. So I think like these were too tight. I think that was the issue. Maybe if we remove. Oh, that's the issue because it's actually in the wall.
Files are in the computer.
Let's see if it still does it. Nah. It is very satisfying, but we need to remove that. There we go.
Are you making it thinner?
Well, the blocks are holding the edges in place. And so it's not actually collapsing as much of the wall as it's supposed to.
Oh, and you're changing swords out so you go through the chain quicker.
Yeah, because I keep on forgetting to reduce the health on the chain.
Gotcha.
What? Well, how is it? What? Why is it magnetized? How is it worse? What is it doing?
I know it's got a mind of its own now somehow.
How? It's never done that.
It's a mystery. That was kind of neat. I'm not going to lie. I like seeing it.
That's more like what it's supposed to be. And then after a little bit,
boom.
These get replaced by static objects. So they like freeze in place basically.
So once they get knocked down, they get replaced with static objects?
Mm-hmm. So
wherever they are?
At the start, they there's an invisible wall here.
Okay.
Oh, or there was.
There is not anymore. You run right through it. Like it's not even there.
No collisions. Why can't I turn on regular collisions?
Even the wall's lazy, Alex.
Is it 'cause
It's
it's
like,
a
I don't want to do
plant?
any collisions today.
Can plants not have collisions? Why? Okay, fine. Just whatever. We'll give them health, and then death event. Destroy, death delay, -5. Just kill it as fast as possible. Enter. Hidden. Immune to attacks, true. Stunnable, false. Okay, so the idea is that there is a wall here that I can't go through, and I can't attack it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's solid, but this wall is actually just invisible.
What happens to change that? Or what causes that to change, I should say?
When the wrecking ball gets into this area, this wall will die. The invisible wall will die. And all of these objects, which currently have no collision on them, they're just visual, these will get converted into objects that are collision plus gravity. Right as soon as the wrecking ball is about to hit them.
Why don't you just have that set up as collision plus gravity from the start?
Because then the player can knock them over with their bodies.
Got it, coach.
So we can't do anything to it there, but then we're like, oh, what's this? Then we make our way up here and go, oh, I break it this way. And then you go...
Punch-size it.
Yeah. And you're like, I can break this. And then it falls. And... oh. Except it worked better before we had all of this stuff up on there. So maybe if we reduce this.
I see what you're saying. Give it a little less support.
Yeah. I think that
Let
might
those
be
chompy Domokun looking mouths breathe a little freer.
I thought you were talking about the pattern I was cutting into the wall, and then I realized you were talking about this, and I was like, oh man, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Domokun's amazing. You should think about it more often, Alex. Roxy Miguel says, what about no support?
Well, it's just the visual. It's not even there for a practical support reason.
It's an aesthetic choice.
Yeah, it's to make it look like this is a wall, like we're on the back side of a wall, basically.
Garnican asks, does the ball always follow the exact same path? Or is there some RNG in it?
Neither. There's chaos theory in it. So that...
elaborate.
Well, it's a physics item. So as you would... the physics of the chain initially falling is probably going to be mostly the same, because this chain does not have tension on it currently. There's air gaps between. Because if I force it to be tight, it's gonna break because it's gonna be too close. So we start it loose and it kind of settles into place. See how it's bouncing a little bit? So chaos theory would say that there's too many variables in like gravity and stuff that would make these kind of bounce and wiggle all over. But in a game, they're all happening at the same time, the same way every single time we start. So theoretically, the chain shouldn't move that much. But you notice when we touch it, it does move. So when we run up to hit it with the sword, we probably are going to bump it a little bit. Also, Gesundheit, I think.
Thank you.
Yes. I couldn't hear it. I just saw your face distort.
I muted myself.
So we touched a little bit when we run up, so that's going to move it around. And oh, hello, it's clipping through the floor now. That's probably going to make it not work. But as we do our little attack here, you see how the chain link that's right here, see how it's moving ever so slightly? It's constantly bumping against the physics and wiggling a little bit. And we're not going to destroy this. It's going to be a little different every time because we're the human factor where we're not cutting the chain at the exact same time every time. So it's not really RNG. We're not rolling a die. It is actual randomness, like real gravity would have.
I like it.
So I think it's because these ones specifically aren't changing out.
What if follow me here? What if you added a rocket pack to it? And discuss.
We could get it going faster with a moving object behind it that would push the ball. But we don't have a way to like attach it to the ball. So it's not like Gary's mod when you can like strap rockets onto things and then hit a button and they go and push it. But we could have a moving platform coming out of the wall here invisibly and shoving the ball. But I kind of like having gravity do it.
I do too.
But I do actually want to get rid of some of what's going on here.
Roxy Miguel says lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, and to that I say I disagree, because if that same place is me, then it absolutely strikes twice.
Lightning actually, it very commonly strikes the same place multiple times in like a second. Yeah. Because the lightning creates a plasma tube, which makes it easier for the lightning to go through that, and you'll get many strokes up and down of the lightning through the same path because it created a path of least resistance. I mean, it found the path of least resistance, and by going through that path, it has now like made it more compatible for lightning going through it. So it actually, when lightning strikes, it usually strikes like 6 times or whatever.
Multiple times in a very short period of time.
Mm-hmm. But I also know what they're getting at with that particular statement.
We're just being difficult.
Mm. Let's make this one collisions plus gravity. And let's make...
Okay, so Go West asks, Lucas, have you been struck by lightning? The answer is yes and no. I was, being a little jokey. One time, it didn't happen multiple times. But it wasn't like a direct strike. It was one of those proximity things where lightning struck something nearby and I think just traveled through the ground and whatnot, all the water. But I was pretty far away from where it actually happened. So I only got a little bit of a little death charge.
Fun. I'm sure it was exhilarating.
Felt like getting hit by an electric fence. And who hasn't done that before?
Not I. I have accidentally touched a plug. I had an alarm clock when I was a kid where the tines of the plug were kind of like bent in.
Afraid.
The wall. What?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The metal fork that goes in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So because they were bent in, they kind of like grabbed into the wall. And when I went to unplug it, it stuck. And as I like readjusted my grip, my hand slid forwards over the plastic, and I accidentally grabbed the metal that was still sticking into the wall. And my hand was numb for like an hour after that. It was fun.
That'll do it. Yeah. I had a similar situation when I was like a real little kid. Like the exterior of the electrical cord had become exposed and super frayed,
Mm.
and I like rolled over it, and it just fried my leg.
Ooh, fun.
Like, yeah, it like melted a big old patch of skin.
Hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, grab the wrong thing. Oh yeah, somebody said. What was the combination of keys they said?
There's a couple different things. Add asset spawner at the
There it
same
is.
point of
No.
ball.
I found it. I found it. This is. I
Fair
don't
enough.
think it's in. I don't think
I
it's
will
in the
stop.
directions. Somebody mentioned this on Twitter. I went, what? And I just did it. If you right click on any one of these axes, it resets the rotation to 0 on that axis. And
What?
also, if you right click on the ball, it resets all of them.
Okay. Stop. I'm going to need you to start back at the very beginning of this explanation. I'm going to need somebody to clip this because this is a perfect moment, like what Panda was talking about. All right. Can you explain that again from step 1?
So let's say you got an object at some random rotation. You're like, I need this to be lined up with everything again. You can right click on any one of the axes. You got your X, Y, and Z with the red, green, and blue. And you just highlight the one that you want to reset the rotation, and you right click on it, and it goes and is snapped back to the rotation, and you can do it on each one.
What?
Oh. Except it stopped doing it. Okay. I don't know why it stopped doing it on the specific axes. It was working a second ago. But if you right click on the ball, it resets all of them to 0.
That's so cool and incredibly useful.
Mm-hmm. It heard you were clipping and was like, I'm gonna act up
like
now.
I say the nay. No clip shall happen
And now
in my domain.
Now it worked. So
Game
I don't know.
Maker,
I don't know why it didn't work that last time.
A tough lover.
I was gonna say
that's so
fickle.
Cool. I wasn't sure how to phrase it. I had the words in my head, and I was like, I can't say those words on stream. So how am I going to phrase this so that it doesn't sound weird and creepy? A fickle friend. There you go. I like that one.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Now I'm just landscaping because it's got to be pretty. All right. Let's see, collisions plus gravity, and then we're gonna take these off here. Why is it wiggling? Did I leave collisions on? Oh, yeah. Just regular collisions. There we go. Whoa! What?
And it didn't hit the wall. It did everything but hit the wall.
It bounced back up. I think because it's shoving the ball into the wall. Except it's not doing it now.
Move the chain out a little more. Like towards the very edge.
Oh. What? Oh. What?
I kind of feel like that chain's got a mind of its own, and I don't like it.
I mean, we did set it up specifically so this would be the one that would break.
Oh.
Before.
Okay.
So, I'm not going to worry about
Gotcha.
saving it. I'm just going to leave it. So, yeah. I was going to show what happens if you grab a chain. So, what happens if we grab and pull on this? Instead of having that, we're going to go with collisions plus gravity and then make it pickable. and then we run away with the link.
Ooh, Umaliax has a good point. He says Alex trying to make a Hydra monster, and I do feel like because of how it's kind of acting like with a mind of its own, this could be a way to create some cool in-game monster-like creatures or something. I don't know.
Maybe. All right. Well, I just kind of wanted to have a chill, like we goof around and experiment, and in the Game
Did
Maker
we?
day, we did goof around and experiment in the Game Maker.
I feel like it was successful, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, I mean, we did get this platform to work with the chain, and I think under more ideal circumstances, we could get it to behave a little bit better. So if you want just like a platform that like looks cool and moves around, like the chains are not going to be like a success for transportation, I don't think, but we can at least make cool looking elevators. You just have to be careful
Absolutely.
how much tension the chains get. So if they bind up too tough, they are gonna like twist and break each other. But at least we've got like a little magical, like that right there. So you're gonna want them to be a bit rounder, a bit thinner.
So natural.
Um, and it'll probably work better. But yeah, I mean, I think there's some cool stuff you can do making like physics puzzles. You just have to, keep on testing and see, this never broke like this until I changed the way I was doing the chain up there. So obviously the way I had it working before was better. And I thought maybe I could improve on it, but nope, it was good the way it was. So I needed to not touch a good thing.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
All right, I'm ready for a nap. I don't know about you, Lucas.
Yes, I'm hungry.
All right, Lucas is gonna get a snack. I'm gonna get a nap. I'll be back. I'm not sure if I'll be back on Tuesday. So my stream schedule may be changing up a bit. I'm talking to Panda about what new plans are going to be, and Lucas will be in those conversations because Lucas is my co-host. And do we just have chains floating in the air? We do. I was looking at the shadow. Yeah, maybe not next week. Maybe next week. I don't know. Keep an eye on my Twitter @Kamisazi. I'll try to post any schedule updates there when they come along. Just as Builder's Challenge is over for now, so we might mix up the way we do things a bit. We'll see. Have a great weekend, everyone. We're gonna see if there's anybody we can raid. Any last words, Lucas? Any final words?
Thank you for stopping by. It's a pleasure spending Saturday with each and every one of you.
Alrighty. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Ain't no party like a PandaPops party, like a PandaPops party. Whoop whoop.